let the good times roll.
Welcome to part 2 of my long-awaited Mafia 2 cut content series. Now, just because Mafia 2 has cut content doesn't necessarily mean the game is less good. Every video game has cut content, yes, every single one has cut content if you look hard enough. It's just that the developers of Mafia 2 didn't do a good job at hiding all the unused features from data miners like myself. I still think Mafia 2 is a great game, it's a great Mafia game. That being said, in this video I will cover 10 new things removed from Mafia 2 that I did not previously mention in part 1. Like I stated in the first video, every single video is going to be 10 new things that I didn't cover before. And there's a lot of fake news on the internet of what was actually cut and removed from Mafia 2. Most websites are unreliable and don't provide sources directly from the game's files. So here are 10 new things removed from Mafia 2 in no particular order, with sources included. The feature to ride taxis was removed from Mafia 2. Originally in Mafia 2, in Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, after leaving the bar, you were supposed to hail a random taxi on the street, and the taxi was supposed to drive you to Little Italy. However, in the final game, there's no gameplay sequence following the bar cutscene. Instead, it automatically transitions to Vito getting dropped off in Little Italy via a taxi. If you take a look at the text default SDS file, it says the following about taxis. To hail a taxi, press Y. You need to take a taxi. And in the same text default SDS file, outside of Chapter 2, it says the following. Get in the taxi. Use the taxi service. Stop here. Step on it. Skip ride. Wait here. State the destination. Call taxi. Taxi skip ride. Taxi set destination. Taxi burn the wheel. Taxi stop. Taxi wait. Call a taxi. Taxi driver 1. Taxi driver 2. Taxi driver. In Mafia Definitive Edition, the game allows you to fast travel to your destination by pressing skip drive. It is very likely that skip ride in Mafia 2 was the same thing as skip drive in Mafia Definitive Edition. If we take a look at Mafia 2's audio files, there are 14 taxi SDS files. Each SDS file would have contained multiple audio files. Unfortunately, in the final game, all the taxi audio files are empty. Luckily for PC users, there's a taxi mod by Frescott that restores the removed taxi feature back to the game. To use the taxi mod, go up to any taxi at the passenger side and press the enter vehicle button to enter. Once inside, a menu will appear and you can select your destination. The mod author Frescott did a really nice job of listing all of the game's locations. You can travel to locations of missions, apartments, businesses, characters. Pretty much every game location in Mafia 2 is listed in this mod. If you want the cabbie to drive you to El Greco, he can. Besides locations, some additional features of this taxi mod is that you can tell the driver to drive faster, you can change the radio station, and you can exit the taxi altogether. This is how the taxi feature for Mafia 2 would have most likely looked like if it wasn't removed in the final game. The feature to use car trunks to store weapons, objects, and people was removed from the final game. In these early screenshots of Mafia 2 from 2009, we can see that car trunks were used to store weapons. Here is the car trunk closed, and here is the car trunk opened with Vito in combat. If we zoom in on the trunk, a baseball bat is visible. It is very likely Vito retrieved the shotgun he is currently holding from the vehicle's trunk prior to the screenshot being taken. And in Mafia 2's game files, if you take a look at the text default SDS file, it says the following about trunks. In Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, press at the car's trunk to place your baggage into it. You forgot your suitcase, it's in the trunk of the taxi. In Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, you were supposed to hail a taxi and then place your baggage into the trunk. After getting dropped off in Little Italy, you were supposed to retrieve the baggage from the trunk and go home. However, in the final game, we never see that happen. Instead, Vito exits the taxi and the suitcase magically appears in his left hand. I don't know why they removed the trunk feature for Vito, because NPCs in the game put their baggage in their car trunks all the time. In Chapter 8, The Wild Ones, the text default SDS file says the following. Take a Molotov from the trunk and firebomb the bar. Take a Molotov from the trunk and destroy the bar. Chapter 8 The Wild Ones is the only time in Mafia 2 where you're able to retrieve a weapon from the car's trunk and use it. In this instance, the weapon we can retrieve are 2 Molotovs. It's very possible that the developers of Mafia 2 initially planned for Vito to carry a limited amount of weapons just like the first Mafia game, and you would have to be smart and utilize your vehicle's trunk to store additional weapons. In Joe's Adventures DLC, in the mission Skunk in the Trunk, some crazy guy jumped in front of Marty while he was driving his cab and now he's dead. Marty said he came out of nowhere and had to be drunk or something. The mission requires you to drive a taxi with a broken trunk which is carrying a dead body. You never actually see the dead body, but you do see a large blanket. The game tells you that you can't lose your wanted status because you're driving a taxi with a broken trunk that's carrying a corpse. The only way to lose the cops is to crush the car at Mike Brewski's scrapyard. The only time we see the full animation of stuffing a dead body in a car trunk is in Chapter 10 Room Service. Drunk Joe Barbaro shot an innocent man in the Lone Star Bar, and the mission requires you to grab the corpse and place it in the trunk. The entire animation of stuffing the dead body in the car trunk is played in this mission. In Mafia 3, you can store dead bodies in car trunks whenever you want. It's not mission specific. You can even take them out of the trunk whenever you want. Not all vehicles allow you to place bodies in the trunk. You have to find a suitable vehicle, a vehicle that has a big trunk. It's a shame. The feature to store objects, weapons, and people into your car trunk anytime you wanted was removed from Mafia 2. It would have added another layer to the game's immersion. The original Mafia game from 2002 had trains. You could take a train to travel from one district to the next. In Mission 19, Moonlighting, you walk to Little Italy's train station with Paulie to travel to the bank to discuss the heist. Just like Mafia: The City of Lost Heaven, trains were supposed to be a transportation system in Mafia 2. However, due to abandoning the L3SD engine, creating a new game engine from scratch, and trying to meet deadlines by 2K Games, the entire train system was gutted from Mafia 2. There are still trains present in Mafia 2, but you can't actually ride them. In Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, we can see a train pass on the way to Freddy's bar. There are many instances in Mafia 2 where you can see trains, but you can't actually ride them, like the first Mafia game. In the very first Mafia 2 trailer from 2007, we can see train gameplay in the very first few seconds. The train model from the trailer is still present in Mafia 2's game files. The train file is called Subway, and inside of it are 3 textures. Now, if we combine all of these 3 textures and spawn the train in the game, this is how it looks like. Empire Bay Transit. On the door it says from Dipton to Southport, so this train was meant for Dipton's train station. We can see the train conductor sitting in the front. He's very low polygon and a bit creepy looking. The sign behind the conductor says, "Obey the law, do not smoke." I can't make out the rest of the low resolution text. It's a bit dark, so you might not be able to see this, but if you look very closely, there are 2 ceiling fans, one at both opposite ends. We can see Big Break cigarette and Swift Cola advertisements placed inside the train above the windows, and for some reason there's also a face texture up there. The train file also includes 12 audio files, which is pretty neat. In Mafia 2, there are elevated train stations all across the city, but unfortunately you can't use them. If you try to go up the stairs, you will be blocked by a closed door. If you're on PC, you can use the no-clip mod and pass through the door. You can then see how the train station would have looked like. Mr. Sergi 1940, the creator of the Friends for Life free roam mod for Mafia 2, uploaded this video to YouTube 6 years ago on September 3rd, 2016. In the video, he showcases the transit system working. The video is 360p in resolution, but you can still see what he managed to do. This picture is from Pavel Kotin, who was the level artist and designer for Mafia 2. This is the interior of the elevated train station. There's a newspaper stand, clean floors with no garbage, a couple broken tiles, a metal pillar with pipes across the ceiling, and there's even a gate. It's a shame. The feature of using trains to travel across Empire Bay was removed from Mafia 2. Now, I already mentioned that the trains were cut, but did you also know that the underground subway system was also removed? Originally in Mafia 2, you could use both the trains and the subway system to travel. In Mafia 2's DLC, Joe's Adventures, the mission saving Marty takes place in the Kingston subway station. It's only a small portion of the subway, but it's still cool to look at. Just like the elevated train stations, the underground subways were located in every district in Empire Bay. The subway in Joe's Adventures DLC is located in Kingston. It has peeling paint, broken tiles, trash on the floor, and pretty much looks like New York City in real life. New York City's subway in real life is not clean either. Apparently the developers of Mafia 2 plan to use the same models for both the elevated trains and the underground subways. The train model is literally called Subway. In the same video that Mr. Sergi 1940 uploaded to YouTube 6 years ago, he showcases the subway system working. The video is 360p in resolution, but again, you can see what he managed to do. Mafia 2 is already an immersive game, but man, it could have been even more immersive if trains and subways weren't removed. Rick's Records. Have you ever noticed this building when driving in Mafia 2? The sign says Ricky's Records. Many people probably never gave it a second thought when driving down the street. This building is located in Midtown, right here on the map. The sign says Ricky's Records for dances and private parties, and in the top right hand corner says all the old favorites. What if I told you that this building is cut content? Yes, Ricky's Records, or also referred to as Rick's Records, was a two-story vinyl shop where you could possibly purchase music. Jiri Koten is a Mafia 2 game developer who created many of the game's locations. One of the environments he developed was a Rick's Records, a vinyl shop. This picture is from his online portfolio, and as the saying goes, a picture is worth 1,000 words. From this picture, we now know that Ricky's Records originally had an interior where you could enter and possibly purchase vinyl music to play at home. It's a shame because Ricky's Records is still in the final game, but there's no interior. If you walk up to the window, you can't see anything inside, and if you use no clip to pass through the building, there's nothing inside. And at nighttime, the arrow sign doesn't even light up. Rick's Records is mentioned 2 times on the radio. The first time Rick's Records is mentioned is during the 1950 summer section of the game on ECNR. The second time Rick's Records is mentioned is during the 1950 summer section of the game as an advertisement.
It's Rockin' Ricky Fox on Empire Central Radio. More of the big boppin', heart-stoppin' tunes coming up on the Rockin' Ricky Fox Show, all of which you can find at Rick's Records, Empire Bay's largest selection of 45, 78s, and the new long play records are at Rick's Records, which makes him my second favorite Rick. This next one is actually at Rick's for 20% off for a limited time only, kids. So run out now and go pick it up and crank it up on ECNR.
Hey, this is Little Bobby Drummond, and nothing says rock and roll like Rick's Records. Woo-wee! Empire Bay was shaking loose like Dolly when they got Rick's Records in town, and I should know, cause I wrote the song, Lordy Lord, Lord. And don't forget to buy my new record at Rick's Records. For all the hottest LPs and singles, go to Rick's Records. Woo-wee!
I think Ricky's Records, or Rick's Records, would have made Mafia 2 even more immersive. Imagine going to this 2-story building to listen to music or possibly purchase vinyl records to play at home. This interior looks awesome. Carlos Lopez, nicknamed Charlie, was originally a major character in Mafia 2 like Giuseppe, Mike Bruschi, and Steve. Charlie would assign you optional side missions like car bombings and Grand Theft Auto. Some of his missions were reused in Joe's Adventures DLC and Jimmy's Vendetta DLC. Charlie's voice and model never appear in any of the DLCs, but you can see various pictures of him with in-game text overlay telling you what to do. Charlie's auto repair shop is all over Empire Bay, but the main headquarters where Charlie operates from is located in Southport. Here is the interior of his auto repair shop. Just like Rick's Records, the interior has been removed from the final game, and it's definitely bigger than all the other repair shops found in Empire Bay. There's even a radio advertisement for Charlie's Auto Repair that plays in the 1950s summer section of the game on ECNR.
Man, oh man, I love that song. You know, folks, last week I was listening to that very same rockin' tune in my automobile when I ran into some car trouble on the highway. Lucky for me, my swell pals at Charlie's Auto Service and Repair were able to tow me in and get it fixed in a jiffy. So, friends, next car trouble you have, take it to Charlie's in Southport. Hey, more hip-shaking, room-quaking rock and roll is up next on Empire Central Radio. Thanks, Charlie.
In Mafia 2, paintings and posters are awarded as you progress through the game. Poster 1 is unlocked after completing Chapter 2. In the poster, we can see Vito on the top, Mike Bruschi in the middle, and Carlos Lopez on the bottom. Carlos Lopez is Charlie's real name, but everyone calls him Charlie. In Mafia 2's game files, if you take a look at the text default SDS file, it says the following about Charlie. Carlos Lopez. Carlos Lopez, nicknamed Charlie, owns a series of body shops in Empire Bay. Born in Cuba, he came to America in 1922. Barely speaking English and hoping to find work, he drifted between farms in the southern states, eventually learning to repair agriculture vehicles. By 1930, Charlie had saved enough money to move to Empire Bay and open his own garage. He expanded throughout the Great Depression by legalizing stolen cars, many of which were sold abroad by Vinci Capo Derek Papalardo. Despite making an honest living from his body shop chain, Charlie continues to provide these services to the mob. Charlie has a job for you. Charlie. Charlie's Auto Repair. Charlie. Go with Joe to see Charlie. Steal the Jefferson. Beat Joe back to Charlie's. Charlie owns body shops all over the city. In Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, Vito and Joe drive to Giuseppe's via Joe's car. Then Vito steals a Jefferson Provincial, and both Vito and Joe go to any Charlie auto repair shop in the city to change the plates. Then they drive to Mike Brewski's scrapyard. However, originally in Mafia 2, in Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, after getting lockpicks from Giuseppe's, Vito was supposed to steal the Jefferson Provincial and race Joe to Charlie's in Southport. It was supposed to be Vito in his new stolen car versus Joe. This would make more sense because in the final game, Joe leaves his personal vehicle outside of Giuseppe's and carpools with Vito in his new Jefferson Provincial to Mike Brewski's scrapyard. And in Chapter 7, in loving memory of Francesco Potenza, Vito gets out of prison and you can visit Giuseppe, Steve, and Harry for some additional dialogues. According to the text credit SDS file, there was also dialogue between Vito and Charlie that was removed from the final game. Hey, look who's here. Long time no see. Coño, Vito, how long's it been? At least 2 or 3 years, no? More like 6 or 7, Charlie. Coño, the time. It passes away kinda fast, you know? So, where you been? The big house. Where did you think? You were in the big house for 7 years? No, you know, the can, the joint, the slammer, jail. Oh, coño, right. Sorry, I completely forgot. But you're out now, right? Hey, congratulations. So what can I do for you, Vito? And in Chapter 14, Stairway to Heaven, when Vito is searching for Joe, he speaks to shopkeepers all across Empire Bay asking if they've seen Joe. According to the text credit SDS file, Charlie was supposed to be one of these shopkeepers, and here is what he would have said to Vito. Hola, mi amigo. Yeah, Joe was here. Said he had something cooking with Giuseppe, and he was headed over there. Might still be there. Thanks, Charlie. I'm gonna head over there right now. See you. It's such a shame such an integral story character was cut from Mafia 2. We can literally see his name on all the auto repair shops in Empire Bay. Charlie has more of an influence in Empire Bay than Mike Brewski, and it's a shame he was removed from the final game. One of the best features of Mafia 2 is changing outfits for Vito. You can decide what clothes Vito can wear. The game lets you purchase swanky suits and trench coats from the many clothing stores in Empire Bay. And the DLCs introduce a lot of unique clothing options for Vito. Mafia 2 was supposed to have a rainbow outfit for Vito, but it was scrapped from the final game. Ivan Rilka was the lead character artist for Mafia 2 from 2005 to 2010, and according to his online portfolio, there was supposed to be a rainbow outfit for Vito, but unfortunately it never made it to the final game. The outfit was inspired by the 1985 movie Rambo First Blood Part 2, starring Sylvester Stallone. According to the concept artwork, the headband was supposed to have simulated physics so that it would move as you walked. And if you save this image from Ivan's portfolio, the image is saved as Vit Ramb, and that's what the model file would have most likely been called. The rainbow outfit was supposed to be part of a military pack, but there's no such thing as a military pack DLC in Mafia 2. There is a War Hero pack, but that features World War II outfits from Vito's time in the war, and not Vietnam War outfits. Now, I don't understand why they couldn't add this to the game. Elvis Presley's 1968 comeback special outfit is present in the final game, and 1968 is the year that Mafia 3 takes place. It's most likely that the military pack DLC was cut because there was already a War Hero pack, and they thought that they already had enough DLC packs for Mafia 2, or maybe it was cut because 2K Games was rushing Mafia 2 developers to hurry up and finish the game. Nonetheless, I think this outfit would have been pretty cool if it made it to the final game. Another outfit that was not utilized in Mafia 2 is Joe in prison attire. Now luckily the file is still present in the final game, but it's never used at any point in the game's story or DLCs. The file is called Joe Vez, and it can be found in Mafia 2/PC/SDS/HCare. Now this is very interesting because in Mafia 2, Joe is never arrested and sent to prison. Vito, on the other hand, gets caught by the police 2 times. In the final game, Joe never gets arrested by the police. This model of Joe in a prison attire is indeed a mystery. I don't know if Vito and Joe were supposed to be in prison together, or if there was a prison mission for Joe's adventures. There's just not enough data to make a conclusion. I just thought it was worth mentioning that this Joe prison model was not used for the final game. Mafia 2 originally had betting minigames that were removed. If we take a look at the text default SDS file, it says, betting on hounds. Originally in Mafia 2, you could place bets on greyhounds to earn or lose money. Greyhound racing was very popular in the 1940s and 1950s. Here is an early screenshot of the betting lounge. On the left hand side we can see the bar, and on the right side in the back we can see a man leaning towards what looks like a counter. This is possibly where you could place your bets before the race. If we take a closer look at the pictures on the wall, we can see various greyhounds depicted. Here is another screenshot of the betting lounge, but there seems to be some combat going on. Again, if you take a look at the pictures on the wall, it's of greyhounds. This is a very early picture of Mafia 2's map. Now, I don't want to say this is beta because this looks very early in the game and it could be pre-alpha for all I know. Mafia 2 developers used this map to plan certain game locations, and one of these locations is Vinci's mansion, and above it says Empire Racetrack 5 miles. It seems the Empire Racetrack was 5 miles from Don Vinci's mansion. Now, it's possible the Empire Racetrack could be for car racing like the racetrack in the first Mafia game, but I can't find any evidence in the game files that suggest a racing circuit. It's most likely a racetrack for greyhound racing or horse racing, or it could be both. In the final game, there's no racetrack in this location, and Vinci's mansion was never used in the main story. Don Vinci's mansion was reused in Jimmy's Vendetta DLC for Judge Hilwood's house. And when you go to Vinci's mansion in Jimmy's Vendetta DLC, there's a fork road. If you keep going straight, it leads you to Don Vinci's house, but the right side is blocked off by a gate. The right side was supposed to lead you to the Empire Racetrack, and it was supposed to be 5 miles from here. Don Vinci apparently liked greyhounds. These paintings can be found inside his house, and his mansion is only 5 miles away from the Empire Racetrack. But then again, you can find greyhound pictures in many locations in Mafia 2, so this doesn't necessarily mean Don Vinci liked greyhounds. It's possible that the Empire Racetrack could be used for betting on hound races, horse races, or both. Now, I already mentioned that in the game files it says you could bet on hounds, but did you know that there was another gambling activity in the game, and it was during Vito's time in prison? In prison, there aren't greyhounds and there aren't horses, but there are cockroaches. According to Mafia 2's text default SDS file, you could place bets on cockroach races. Yes, you heard that correctly. Apparently cockroach racing is a thing. I never knew this, but apparently it's very popular in prisons because inmates are always bored and they love money and gambling, so that makes sense. Select your racer. Cockroach from garbage can, cockroach from kitchen, cockroach from toilet, confirm. Apparently cockroach racing is a thing and I never knew this. In this early screenshot of Mafia 2, we can see slot machines. Now, I'm not sure if this is an early version of Freddy's Bar. It could be an entirely different bar. In the final game, Freddy's Bar doesn't have a door at the end like this picture. Either way, there are slot machines in this screenshot. Mafia 2 Mobile is a Java game for Java phones, and I spoke to the lead game designer and he told me that he saw an early script of Mafia 2, which helped him inspire Mafia 2 Mobile. In Mafia 2 Mobile, Don Vinci owns a casino, and you can use slot machines to gamble money. Mafia 2 Mobile is the only Mafia game where you can use slot machines to gamble. It seems in Mafia 2's early script, Don Vinci was a gambling man who loved to gamble, and we can see more evidence of this at the end of this video. According to the text default SDS file, there was a removed side mission in Chapter 5 of the Buzzsaw, where you worked for Eddie by collecting bet money. Chapter 5, Work for Eddie, Bet Collecting, Oyster Bay, March 29th, 1945. It's a shame that the gambling activities were removed from the final game. It would have been cool to place bets on greyhound races, cockroach races, use slot machines, and collect bets for Eddie. In Mafia, the City of Lost Heaven, in Mission 10 or Merta, you can find a dog walking back and forth in the open world. Even though it's a scripted event, it's still a dog in the open world. Dogs were removed from Mafia 2's open world. In this early screenshot of Mafia 2 from 2009, you can see a dog crossing the street. And in the beginning of Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, you can see a dog crossing the street. The cutscene is pre-rendered and not in real time, but it still shows that dogs were originally scripted for the open world and not just missions. This would explain the dog poop that you can find at the parks. Yes, there's dog poop in Mafia 2. I'm pretty sure most Mafia 2 fans don't know about this, but this would explain the dogs in the open world. Dogs are present in Mafia 2 in multiple missions, but they're not present in the open world. And it seems cats were also removed from Mafia 2's open world. In Mafia 2's Kick in the Head trailer, we can see a dog and a cat. The cat is present in the final game in Chapter 2, Home Sweet Home, but it's not present in the open world, which is a shame. And horses were removed from Mafia 2. Yes, horses. In the final game, you can find a horse obstacle course outside of Frank Vinci's mansion. The horse obstacle course was simply meant to display scripted horses running for aesthetic purposes. You could never actually ride horses in Mafia 2. They were simply added to show the player that Don Vinci likes animals and betting. The horse audio files are still present in the final game, and they can be found in Frank Vinci's mansion SDS file. In the future, I'll go more into depth, but originally in Mafia 2, you could kill Don Frank Vinci, and when you went to his mansion to kill him, you would see horses galloping outside of his mansion, and you could hear horses in the stable. In Chapter 7, In Loving Memory of Francesco Potenza, this dialogue was cut from the final game. This dialogue was supposed to play in the cat house where Vito, Joe, and Eddie were gathered. If you want to cut out gambling, there's just two things you need to do. Burn the stables and shoot the horses. Boy, Frank's a real class act, and you know what the best thing was? One of the senators on the committee lost all his money betting on the ponies.
Talk about a horse's ass!
No, really. Carlo's a real smart guy. He's into, astrology.
You mean astronomy?
Yeah, that's what I just said. The moon, the stars, shit like that. You know what? What are you, fucking deaf? He sponsors the observatory and spends just about every night up there. I don't get what's so fucking interesting about it though. Little white specks in the fucking sky. This removed dialogue shows us that Frank Vinci possibly owned racehorses and that one of the senators lost all his money betting on the ponies. This would explain the horses outside his house.
The senators on the committee lost all his money betting on the ponies.
No! Talk about a horse's ass!
No, really. Carlo's a real smart guy. He's into, astrology.
You mean astronomy?
Fuck you, you fucking cum dumpster.
It's a shame that there's no dogs and cats roaming the streets of Empire Bay, and it would have been cool to look at horses. In this video, we learned the following 10 things were removed from Mafia 2. Number 1, the ability to hail taxis and use them to travel. Number 2, the ability to use car trunks to store objects, weapons, and possibly people. Number 3, the ability to take trains to travel like Mafia: The City of Lost Heaven. Number 4, the ability to take the underground subway to travel. Number 5, Rick's Records, a 2-story record store which you could possibly purchase vinyl records to play at home. Number 6, Charlie Lopez, a story character who had his own unique dialogues and side missions. Number 7, a Rambo outfit for Vito Scaletta for the removed military pack DLC. Number 8, a Joe present model. I'm still unsure why this model exists. Maybe Joe took the fall for Vito originally, who knows. Number 9, gambling activities such as greyhound races, cockroach races in prison, slot machines in bars, and collecting bets for Eddie. Number 10, animals in the open world such as dogs and cats, and horses at Frank Vinci's mansion, and possibly at the Empire racetrack. I hope you guys learned something new today, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel and please share this video to fellow Mafia 2 fans. And thank you and have a nice day.
Lake Park, scene dark, silvery moon is shining through the trees. Cast to me you, sound of kisses floating on the breeze. Act 1.